Hi everyone, this is me, Adrian Syal. Hello everyone, let me introduce myself. My name is Adrian Syal. My student ID is B1024201011. I'm a student in Management International Class, Faculty of Economy and Business, Universitas Tanjungpura. I'm in a good condition and I hope all of you in a good condition too. So, the reason why I'm showing human resource management class because I want to learn more about human resource management and today topic discussion. The topic we're gonna discuss today is a human resource planning and retention. This topic talking about HR planning, which involve analyzing and identifying the need for and availability of human resource. And this topic also discuss how important to do retain the employee in case to reduce a turnover in an organization. Okay, that's it for my opening comments. Let's jump to our main topic. So for our main topic, we're gonna discuss about human resource planning and retention. But what is the human resource planning and how do I plan my human resource in my organization? So human resource planning is a process of estimating and determining the organization requirements for an availability of human resource in order to achieve a company goals. To plan my human resource in my company, the first thing I will do is analyzing HR supply in our company, which is I will identify the company current human resource supply. The second step, I will require the company to outline the future of its workforce and forecasting the HR demand. After that, I would balancing the demand and the supply data to making a plan. The last step, I will implementing, developing, and evaluating the plan that I made for my organization human resource. To do HR planning, there is some process of it. The first step in the HR planning process is to review the organizational HR strategy plan. The second step is to assess external, which is condition or influence, and internal, which is capability and KSR in the workforce. The third step is to compile HR planning forecast, which is the demand of HR and supply for HR. And the last step is to develop HR staffing plan and action. And the action could be employee retention, turnover utilization, recruiting, search and means, and selection process and action. So there is a step in HR planning process to assess an external and internal workforce. How we do it. So how to assess an internal and external workforce is by know the workforce issues in the company, analyzing the job that will need to be done and the capability of people who are currently available in the organization to do is a part how to assess the internal and external workforce. Example for internal workforce is evaluating internal workforce strength, weakness as an audit of the job being done in the organization and evaluating employee and organizational capability inventory. For external workforce, the example is condition and influence external or by outside of the organization like economy and governmental factor, competitive evaluation, and changing workforce consideration. After the step to assess the external and internal workforce, there is a step to forecast HR demand and supply. The data I acquire from scanning the external environment and analyzing internal strength and weakness is utilized to forecast HR supply and demand in the light of corporate goals and plan. Forecasting makes us knowledge from past and present to predict future situation, future project, and subject to error. After that, we can forecast the HR demand with the company to outline the future of its workforce and identify the company current human resource supply. When we are talking about HR supply, how do I estimate my internal labor supply? So estimating internal supply includes the amount of external hiring as well as employee who shift from one position to another through promotion, lateral move, or termination. It also evaluates how training and development program transfer, promotion rule, and retirement policy, among other things, impact internal supply. Data from replacement chart succession planning initiative are used to estimate probable staff change, identify possible backup candidate, and maintain track for attrition, which is resignation, retirement, and etc. for each department in the organization when estimating internal supply. After we talking about HR planning, we're also going to talk about retention and how important is retention. So employee retention refers to an organization's ability to retain its employee. Employee retention that is effective can save company productivity. Workplaces with a high retention tend to have more engaged employees who in turn and get more done. Employees that are engaged are more likely to develop customer relationships, and teams that have had time to gel are likewise more productive. So there is a headline in Book of Human Resource Management by Robert L. Mathis and John H on page 145. The lesson that I get from reading the HR headline is that very important to attracting, recruiting, and retaining good employee. HR planning and retention help to get a qualified employee and retaining the employee to achieve the organizational objective. And not only that, this is also done to increase productivity and so on. The lesson that I get from this headline, this will help me in the future about how important HR planning and retention to do in an organization. This headline also told me that as a HR staff, the effort should be expanded in an organization to retain and hiring more qualified employees. So in the Book of Human Resource Management by Robert M. Mathis and John H. there is on page 147, there is a HR practice. So the lesson that I get from the reading the HR practice on page 147, it is very important to do HR planning for the workforce future. HR function in many organizations revolve around staffing, recruiting, employing, and retaining employee. HR planning help increasing employee retention by reducing turnover, can aid in enhancing the organizational performance and effective HR management. So this lesson taught me in the future, surely I will do HR planning in my organization with intention for my workforce future, because with HR planning, I can solve issues that maybe will happen within my organization, like recruiting, employing, and retaining my employee. In order to deepen the knowledge about human resource planning and retention, there is also references video for you guys. So the first video is this. So topic of this video is about human resource planning. I find the topic because the main idea that is the subject of the video is about human resource planning. The topic is very important because HR planning gives many advantages, both of the employee and the organization. And if HR planning can be done effectively, this will help organization with staffing or workforce issues like recruiting, employing, and retaining employee. The lesson that I get from watching this video is I know definition, purpose, and process of human resource planning. This video also taught me that HR planning help you answer three main questions in an organization. First is where are you, or understanding the current reality. Second is where will you want to go, identify your vision in the future. And the third one is how you get there, bringing the plan to reality through measurable action. This is the second reference video. This video is talking about employee retention. How can I find this topic? Is because this has become the title of the video and being mainly discussed in the video. I think this topic is very important because understanding about how to retain employee will give a lot of advantage to our organization. This will also help us to understand about how important to retain key or qualified employee, which will lead our organization to success. What I get from watching this video is I know the definition, refer of retention, which employee can take action to retain the employee, like organization and management factor, employee supervisor relation, job security, work-life balance, tangible reward, career training development, and lastly is employer policy and practice. This video also tell me that about how management or managing retention in organization. In conclusion, which management can take numerous action deal with retention issues. The choice of particular action based on analysis of the turnover and retention problem in particular organization should costume terror by an organization. When we are talking about HR planning and retention, there is something called psychological contract. What is a psychological contract and how important is psychological contract to the employer and management in the company? Psychological contract, which refer to the unwritten expectation employee and employer have about the nature of their work relationship. This will assist employee and employer in resolving a difficult employment relationship. Employee and employer may have a clear understanding of the term and condition what has been agreed upon. Each individual viewpoint is extremely important and necessary. As a result, working in a highly competitive group may drive people to apply the job intentionally. So what's component that a psychological contract should recognize? So there is some component that a psychological contract should recognize. For the employer. Employer may provide a competitive compensation and benefit, flexibility to balance work and home life, and career development opportunities. Meanwhile, the component should a psychological contract recognize from the employee is the employee contribute continuous skill improvement, increased productivity, reasonable time with the organization, extra effort and research when needed. This will create a good relation, a mutual relation between the employers and employee. So there is three major factors that can affect how a given individual perform. So the three major that affect how individual perform are: the first one is individual ability to do the work, which is how individual perform a work or a job in an organization. The second one is effort expended, referred to as for effort expended by the employee to or individual in an organization to do the job in an organization. The third one is organizational support, referred to support by organization can be informed physical like equipment and technology, or non-physical like management, training, performance standard, and etc. Since we are talking about individual performance, there is a component of individual performance. So the first one is effort expended. So to increase an individual performance, there is a needed effort expended by the individual itself. To increase the effort, there is several things for that, like motivation, work ethic, attendance, or turnover and job design. The second component is individual ability. This is referred to ability that individual perform a job in an organization. Several things considered as an individual ability is talent, interest, and personal characteristics. The third component is the organizational support. This is referred to the support aids assets that given by the organization to increase individual performance. It can be in form of training, equipment, technology, performance standard, management, and co-workers. Since we are talking about individual performance, there is something called a job satisfaction. What is a job satisfaction and how important job satisfaction to you when you work in a company? So job satisfaction is a measure to a level of satisfaction of worker with their type of work related to the nature of their job duties, the work achieved, and the form of supervision obtained, as well as the sense of relief and liking for the work they are doing. Job satisfaction helps to increase profit, higher productivity or retaining employee, lower turnover, loyalty by the employee, and increase customer relation in an organization. What is a relationship between organizational commitment and job satisfaction? So job satisfaction helps to increase loyalty and engagement of the employee to the organization. This will lead employee to organizational commitment. Job satisfaction can make employee comfortable with work, retain the employee, so that this create commitment between a worker and the organization. There is some factor affecting job satisfaction and organization commitment. The first is start with the individual itself by the ability, motivation, and support. After that, from the job itself, like job design, job element in an organization. But of this factor will affect job satisfaction and job dissatisfaction and organizational commitment. The result will be between retention of the employee or turnover. So after I read chapter 5 in the book of Human Resource Management by Mathis and John H, and I think this chapter is really important because I can learn a lot about HR planning and retention, which is really needed in an organization. I get a lot of lessons like the process of HR planning, the purpose to do HR planning and retention, which is to increase profit, higher productivity, lower turnover, increase loyalty, engagement by the employee. I am also get what feature or component would affect individual performance, job satisfaction, and organizational commitment. Other thing that I learned is what is a psychological contract and how this can help to build a good relation between the employer and the employee. So we come to the closing comment. So in conclusion, HR planning and retention is very crucial in organization. This is done with a lot of purpose that will bring advantage for both of workforce or employee and organization. Psychological contract, individual performance, job satisfaction, and organizational commitment play a huge part to retaining the employee. If I work as an HR staff in the future, I would like to implement the lesson that I get today in my organization because I would like to retain my employee by make them feel comfort when get to the job in the organization and feel like home when they are in the organization. All of this is done with intention not only for my company success but also for my workforce or employee future. That's all for me. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.